You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, your terribly overworked and tragically underpaid host. And with me, as always, is my partner,
Rocco,
who is underworked and overpaid.
Tragically underpaid.
He doesn't pay me, people. He has me chained to the desk. Please send help. Oh, I tell you, Monday mornings it feels like that some days. Oh, goodness. All right, but you know what? Because you don't pay me, Rocco, you know what that means I have to do to make you suffer. It's time once again for the engineering joke of the week. Okay, you ready for this, Rocco?
I'm ready.
All right. Did you hear about the engineer who invented the escalator?
No.
They were mechanically inclined. Huh? There you go. Oh, I search for the worst ones I can find. They keep getting better every week. All right, folks. So, today, I want to talk about a particular phrase that some of you folks may have heard about in the Autodesk world, but that not a lot of us really seem to be all that familiar with. And that term is Autodesk Service Provider. Now, I will put money that at least half of the people listening just rolled their eyes and they said, oh, I know what that is. They're the guys we get our Autodesk software from. Well, I hate to be a contrarian. Actually, I don't. Roger will tell you. It's actually one of my favorite pastimes. I go entire days just being contrary. But an Autodesk Service Provider, or an ASP, or what we call an ASP. Boy, that doesn't sound good when you say it on the radio, does it? I get confused.
I was just going to say, yeah, don't say that too fast.
I'm going to say people call me an ASP all the time, but there's no P in that. Anyway, we'll go with ASP instead. How's that? That sounds better. An ASP doesn't sell you software. The guys who sell you software are what we call a VAR, or a Value-Added Reseller. An ASP is really a specific type of consultant, right? And it's one who is an expert in your field and has partnered with Autodesk to become certified as a specialist in that industry. In other words, an ASP helps you take the Autodesk software that you already own and to use it better, smarter, and faster. Now, look, to be fair, I'm bringing this up because Zentech is actually a nationally recognized ASP. And I find it constantly that people either think when we call them or we work when we're trying to sell them software, or they just kind of scratch their heads in confusion when I tell them that we're an Autodesk service provider. They go, what? So Rocco, do you run into that issue on the sales end too? I mean, do people just not know about the ASP program and what it does?
Yeah, they don't. I don't think Autodesk does a great job of marketing it either. So it's definitely awareness is needed on our part.
See, there you go. And that's why we're here today, to make you guys aware. The idea behind the ASP program, it's a pretty simple one, right? Companies like Zentech, who have specialized skills in specific area of, design and construction with Autodesk software systems and processes. We can apply and we take a certification tests as a starting point. It gets a lot more difficult than that to show Autodesk that we really are as good as we claim to be. And then after that, we have to take, annual tests and we have to take classes to ensure that we're always up on, the latest Autodesk functionality. And that's kind of just the beginning. A key function of the ASP program is that partners have to show Autodesk that we're performing real world projects in these specialties for actual clients. There is no chance of an ASP who is just, sending some low level tech and say, oh, just, get online, go to Google, take the test, and then, we can pretend that we're certified for marketing purposes here, right? You have to report every year on at least 3 jobs, what the size, the scope, the cost of each was, right? And then you have to put Autodesk directly in contact with the client so that Autodesk can get feedback on the end result of the project. That kind of means that Rocco and I aren't allowed to BS our way through it. Our clients are actually giving, survey feedback directly to Autodesk. And I actually say I like this program a lot because it gives people working with an ASP the surety that they're just not working with some random CAD person or a software sales company who's just trying to push, more seats of software at them. I think it's a vitally important system for people working with any Autodesk product, right? Whether it's in the design or the construction environment, doesn't really matter. So Rocco, what areas are we ASP certified for here at Zentech, and where can people go to find ASPs for other products that they might need help with beyond what we do?
Yeah, well, ASP for other products, it's just the famous Autodesk.com. Navigate their search bar. That's probably the best and quickest way to do it, because I was just there a little while ago. And our specialty is really in the civil engineering space. That's where most of what we do is. We certainly do a lot in architecture and construction, but as it relates to an Autodesk service provider, I think we're more well known as in the civil space, with all the training and consulting services that we offer from that end. We've just kind of built a name for ourselves in that space. Though I will say from my side, I'm seeing a ton of work coming in this year on the Autodesk Construction Cloud side. So we're expanding out there with that as well. So we are certified there. We're just haven't seen as much work yet, but it's growing. So look, like I said earlier, the key differentiator here is that an ASP has no vested interest in selling you more software, or honestly, even in pushing Autodesk as the perfect solution for every problem. At the end of the day, right, an ASP is there to work for the client's best interest and to help them optimize their configuration, use, and efficiencies with whatever Autodesk system you're working with, or others if that's what it takes. At the end of the day, an ASP is going to have no compunction about telling you to hey, you need to drop 3 of your AEC collection licenses and just replace them with cheaper AutoCAD licenses, right? It's going to save you time and money. Because we don't get anything at all from Autodesk as part of this partnership other than the certification, right? We're simply a client resource that Autodesk has vetted to be the very best available in a specific industry. And I think that's a really important concept because it removes the distrust that people often have when they're dealing with their VAR for support and training and so on. There's always the potential conflict of interest when you work with a VAR because their main business is getting you to buy more seats of Autodesk software. ASPs don't care if you have 2 seats or 200. Right? We're getting paid to help you be more productive at every level, and that's our only concern. So Rocco, you worked for a lot of years, before we started Zentech, for Autodesk VARs. Do you find that people have different levels of trust once they understand the difference between a VAR and an ASP? Yeah, I think so, and you see that right with a VAR. I mean, it's unfortunately there's a lot of pressure that VARs have and meeting targets and numbers, and you might be cut, you might not be cut, and so there's a higher focus on pushing those seats out, getting more people to use the product. And it's a good thing from one perspective, right? I mean, you want more people using the product, and Autodesk puts out great products. But there's a difference. There's a difference in the level of work that you do and the knowledge, like you're explaining, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I tell you what, I think it's a good place to take a quick break so we can hear from today's sponsor. And when we get back, I want to talk about the type of work and projects that ASPs usually get involved with. All right, so stand by, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody. Today's episode of the Cattle Call Podcast is brought to you by Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. We're bringing ourselves to you. Aren't we nice? So we wanted to talk to you guys today about some of the things that we offer at Zentech Consultants. In particular, we wanted to talk to you today about our offerings around developing and upgrading your CAD standards. We are here to help you guys with all of your CAD standard needs, from ongoing drafting and design support to block and library development, full CAD standards development, right? CAD version upgrades, really whatever it is that you guys need when it comes to developing, implementing, and tweaking your current CAD standards. Or like I said, if you don't have any yet, we can help you build them from scratch. So Rocco, why don't you tell all the good folks how they can reach out to us and start that conversation?
Yeah, there's a lot of information, people, on our website, zentechconsultants.net. That's ZENTEK consultants.net. Or you can give us a call, 866-824-4459, or even drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net.
Ooh, nice. CAD standards from Zentech Consultants. You're listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast. We're talking about Autodesk Service Providers, or ASPs, today. Who they are and how to find them, and most importantly, what do they actually do? As ASPs ourselves here at Zentech, we do a lot of work in this arena. So I'm going to break this down into kind of the three areas, I guess, that we work with clients most with under the ASP program. And those are training, configuration, and consulting. And I'm going to start with training, right? Because for most people, it's the ideal intro point for whichever ASP you're considering working with. And at the end of the day, your ASP is supposed to be a highly skilled technical expert, right? That you can trust to help your people get the best results out of your Autodesk systems. And I think, the best way to get an idea of, your ASP's technical capacity and skill level is to let them train some of your staff. Look, you're going to know right away if the ASP is who they claim to be, and maybe even more importantly, you'll know if they're capable of not just understanding processes, but effectively communicating that to other people, right? Knowing how to do something yourself and being able to teach that to other people, right? Those are two very, very different things, right? Believe me, we go all the time with new employees, making sure that they can handle this before we hire them. You need an ASP who can teach really well, or everything that they're trying to do for you is doomed to fail, because nobody is ever going to understand how to do what they're proposing if they can't communicate that effectively. So Rocco, how much of our ASP work relates to training, right? And how important is it for Zentech, when we're building trust, I guess, with our clients, to provide solid training courses?
Yeah, that's often the starting point is with our training. I mean, it's folks come to us for training, and then from there the dialogues continue because they see our level of expertise and how well we know the products, and from there it's like, all right, these guys know their stuff. So what have we talked to them about? Improving on our CAD standards and our templates, and building pipe. Pressure pipes catalogs and so on. The list goes on and on, but starting with that, the training is a big entry point for a lot of the work that we do with folks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great low cost, low risk way to get familiar with your ASP. So look, the second part of what an ASP is going to focus on for you lies in configuration of your Autodesk systems. And note, I am saying configuration and not customization. There is a difference there that too many folks just gloss over. They're not the same thing. Customization means more software, new systems, more apps, right? That will all need to be continuously modified and updated every year for new releases, right? And generally, customization, in my opinion, it should be avoided at all costs. It's not an efficient way to work, right? Configuration, that is taking your out-of-the-box Autodesk system and optimizing it using the built-in standard tools and structuring it in ways that make everyone more efficient, right? And that are going to be pretty much automatically pushed forward with each new release of the software. Things like, updating and creating templates and display styles and label styles and tool palettes and sheet sets and document controls and streamlined work processes, right? Those are configuration items, and they can be massive, massive time and money savers. And they're kind of the second stop on the ASP train. And I'm going to say something here that I think is going to annoy some people listening. But this type of work, the configuration, it's something you don't really want to engage with a VAR on. Look, training can be okay with a VAR, right? Especially if you're training at beginner levels, new employees, right? Where they're, all the VAR is teaching is, what buttons do you push and what is a line and what is a block and, what's a layer. Those are fine, right? But if you're looking for someone to optimize your systems for real world practical usage, VARs are pretty bad at this. Remember, right? They are primarily software sales people, and their techs are usually, low-level CAD users who took an online certification class for whatever software they're teaching you. Very, very few of them have any practical industry experience, because the people who do have that experience are usually already working for, design and construction firms making way more money, or they're working for a high quality ASP firm rather than a VAR. So Rocco, how much work do we do along the configuration lines, right? And what areas does Zentech focus on? And we see a lot of folks who have tried working with VARs before coming to us?
Yeah, we definitely see folks that have worked with VARs and it hasn't worked out, and so they're looking for higher level of understanding, a better skill set, and that's why they come to us. Like I was saying before, and everything from building up your CAD standards and CAD blocks and your libraries. Like we've been doing a lot of work around pipe networks and pressure pipe networks and catalogs. We sell those we sell a pre-packaged set right off of our website, but we can also work with you to develop a more advanced catalog. So it's that level of work that people come to us for, that they don't always find with their regular VAR, because again, they're focused more heavily on the product sales.
Yeah. Okay. So the last area, I guess, that you're going to want to deal with an ASP for is consulting. In other words, trying to determine not just how the software works best, but how do you get your people to work better on a daily basis. And really, this is absolutely an area where nobody but a certified ASP is even worth talking to. Consulting at this level, it means that the person that you engage with or the company you engage with has to know not just your software system, but they have to understand your industry as a whole, how it works, what they do. And hopefully they understand by this point, right, your company as well, and which areas you guys need improvement and help with. Your ASP needs to have staff with years minimum, right? Preferably decades of experience working in the design build space that your firm is focused on, right? So that they can understand, the terminology, the pitfalls, the area of concern that are most likely causing you pain points and bottlenecks. And look, there are a lot of VARs out there who offer training and configuration services, and some of them can be good at it. I don't want to tell you that, they're all bad. They're not. But I will say that none of them can handle the consulting end of this Autodesk world. Their very business model, I think, prevents them from being able to hire people with the necessary background and skill set, for workflow consulting needs. Look, essentially, I think, a VAR, they have to decide between, I can hire, one construction expert who has a lot of, technical background and experience, or I can hire 4 more salespeople for the same amount, right? Which one you think they're going to go for. And look, even if they do say, hey, we really want to focus on this and they want to, make the expert choice, the very process of consulting is kind of the antithesis of the VAR's business model. Look, consulting work takes months, right, to develop, right? You got to build outlines and quotes, and you got to define structures, in conjunction with the client. And it can actually sometimes take years to fully implement a major process change within a firm, right? Lots of small engagements to get there. And VARs are not built for that. They're built for, quick sales, right? With a 30-day payment schedule and recurring annual maintenance, because they have to answer to big Autodesk. Are you getting your numbers? Are you getting your quotas? And they're just not built out to put in the time investment of a true technical consulting project the way that your ASP is going to be. So kind of varying on a question I asked you earlier, Rocco, right? How often do you see our Autodesk-focused clients, I guess, coming to us for, training and then configuration or consulting work after they've already kind of tried working with a VAR and having the process go bad on them at some point?
Yeah, that's like I said before. It does. It happens often enough, and sometimes it's a little tough because it's like they're coming to us after having had bad experiences, right? But they realize that they still need help and that it didn't work out well the first time, and so they're coming to us with stricter guidelines and a sharper eye, right? Mm-hmm. But it certainly happens.
Yeah. But I will say on my end, from the consulting end, the problem that me and my tech guys all face is that they want to come in and say, okay, well, we got these guys who did A, B, and C, and then we had to fire them because it wasn't working. But we want you to not have to charge us again for A, B, and C. And half the time, like, dude, best thing to do is just delete A, B, and C and start from scratch. And nobody wants to hear that, but you fired the guy for a reason. He was giving you garbage. Why do you want to build on garbage? That's always a tough conversation. All right, I tell you what, folks, I'm going to sum it up like this, right? Zentech is an ASP and not a VAR, all right? Because we're primarily a technology consulting firm with decades of experience helping people in the design and construction world just make all their work easier, better, faster, simpler. It's what we do. As an ASP, we'll usually start by looking at your systems, right? To tell you, hey, which software can you dump and which one do you need fewer seats of, right? And which one can be combined, more cost effectively rather into like one other system instead of the three you're working today. And as you can imagine, right, none of that ever played well back when Rocco and I worked with, VARs back in the day. And it's really why we decided to focus on the ASP route. Now look, we do not cover every system and process that Autodesk offers, right? Rocco told you what we do. So there are a lot of other really good ASP partners out there who may work better for you than Zentech. But I will sum it up by saying this: you are almost always better off working with any certified ASP for any type of practical training, configuration, or consulting job. Right? And now I'll get off my soapbox and we'll get out of here, and we'll catch you next time on the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody. Today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.